Hey, what's up? This is Chuck D. You are listening to Toronto Mike right here, right now, in the place to be.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto Mike, we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1732 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Toronto's Waterfront BIA. Check out what's happening on Toronto's waterfront this summer. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Get your butts to Christie Pitts this summer for the best baseball in the city outside the dome. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto Skyline, a podcast and book from Nick Iones. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mike debut, it's Graven. Mr. Graven, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you?
Good. So, Graven, not your birth name.
No, that's correct.
So tell me because when I think of Graven, I'm thinking of Gravenhurst, okay? But your name is Maddie.
Yeah.
So tell me the origin of the name Graven.
The origin story. So I grew up Christian, and I knew that like Graven was a term from the Old Testament, meaning like something made by human hands, like a idol or an image, but I didn't want to be associated with that. I was like, that's garbage. But I always thought the word was kind of cool. It's like if you take the word gravity and then the word heaven and cut them both in half, then it makes Graven. Because as humans, we're kind of always stuck in one world by gravity, but thinking about maybe an afterlife or something like that.
Well, Graven is a great name for somebody on a podcast sponsored by Ridley Funeral Home. You got Graves.
That's right.
You're Graven. Are you still religious?
No, not anymore. I would say that I'm maybe spiritual, but not religious. I think, religiosity can cause problems in people. But, if you're doing it and it brings you joy and meaning, that's great. But just for me, I had to get out of that world a long time ago.
How long ago did you escape that world?
I'm going to say it was probably getting close to 30. And I was just, involved in a lot of church leadership and stuff. And I even at a camp too, I was like a staff leader. I was a worship leader. But just didn't feel real for me. I sort of saw a disconnect between, these people who were following like an ethos or something and the actual, realization of that in society. It just sort of became like a little bit of seemed like a gossip circle or something. And my experience was like a lot of Christians were just kind of hanging out with other Christians as opposed to doing stuff in the community, helping homeless or whatever. But
interesting. Like, did you detect some hypocrisy maybe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Lots of that. And I think also just personally, I just, I was tired of going to church so much, I spent so many Sundays in churches, in services, and like all year Sunday, like every Sunday for 30 years was in a church. So yeah, I just got away from that. But now, I'm 48, a little more mellow. And if someone gets some meaning or joy from that, that's great. But yeah, it's just not my thing.
Well, 30 years is a good run.
It was a good run.
Totally. Like usually you sort of snap out of it as like a teenager or maybe in your early 20s, but you got 3 decades out of it.
I did. I don't think I really knew what it meant till I was, maybe 15 or 16 or something, sort of the idea of like a personal relationship with this God, Jesus character. But yeah, I mean, for me, it just all started to feel foreign. It's like that Bill Burr bit he talks about where there's like a pastor speaking into a microphone and he's backing away. And at one point the pastor's going, and on the 7th day, you will go to hell. And then he said, as he got older, the voice was more like, and on the because that was more what it was like. It just became
Right.
less relevant to me.
Well, I always think of a Reverend Lovejoy in The Simpsons,
Great
and then I think,
reference.
okay, the great Christian is Ned Flanders, and dare I say, Graven, you're rocking a bit of a Ned Flanders mustache.
I never thought about that, but yeah, I love the Ned. Ned was a funny character. I was actually just listening to Conan's podcast, and he was talking all about the creation of that character and writing for The Simpsons, all that stuff.
Oh, that's my wheelhouse right there. So
on,
with this Stephen Colbert cancellation that made big news yesterday, I was just like thinking about my own personal history with late night talk shows, because I tapped out. I mean, I tapped out about 15 years ago, I'd say, but I grew up loving David Letterman.
Me too.
And then this Conan character took over late night, and I just, from day one, I just loved Conan O'Brien.
Me too. Totally.
Okay, we have a lot in common
Yeah,
here.
Absolutely. I'm a huge Conan fan. And I was a Letterman fan too, because I loved how you could tell there was something sort of uncomfortable about Letterman.
Yeah.
He wasn't really comfortable with stars or Hollywood people. He was sort of maybe a bit anxious, but he really had a wit that could eviscerate people at times, you know?
Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of ground. We're going to
Sounds
get to
good.
know Graven, a.k.a. Maddie McKechnie. Am I
Yeah,
saying that right?
That's right. You got it.
Okay, I nailed it. That's the first
You
time for
nailed it.
everything.
Someone just yesterday said McKenny. And then
Oh, like
someone,
Jim McKenney.
Yeah, and someone else said Mackenzie recently. I don't know where people get the Z, but it's just
on.
whatever.
At least you said Zed. Okay. But yeah, they called Jim McKenney, they called him Howie.
Oh.
And he's an FOTM like you, so a friend of Toronto Mike. And I'm actually going to start with some FOTM connections,
Please.
and then we're going to go all over the place. But I know you have a podcast. Shout out the name of your podcast.
It's called Graventown.
Graventown. Okay. And I actually, so I don't know if people do this. Like, I always think if someone's going to listen to Toronto Mike for the first time, they might cherry pick like, a guest they know or something like that. But I found myself, I said, I want to hear this podcast. I listened to the most recent episode. Like, I just pressed play on the most recent episode. And very early in this episode, there was a bit of a mind blow for me. And I kind of want to talk about it right off the top, because it connects you to another beloved FOTM. And then we'll kind of get to know the Graven story here. But I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to share the mind blow with the listenership here. So,
Beauty.
The big backyard, Giselle's big backyard. Friends up high and fun below. Feel the grass between your toes. There's a place I wanna go where I can learn and I can grow with giggly grass and great big trees, where you can be you and I can be me. Giselle's big backyard.
Giselle's big backyard.
Yeah.
And you had on your show the titular character there, Giselle.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if titular is a word I would use, but no, I like that. That's
You got to be careful when you say that word.
yeah, she was so lovely and just really easy to talk to. And then as she started talking, she was the one who brought up to me that Ron Hawkins wrote the theme song, and I had no idea.
Well, he didn't. Okay, so I talked to
Sorry.
Ron yesterday.
Okay.
So I got to bring some facts to the
Okay.
story. So what the mind blow? So I missed this show completely. We'll talk about your history in a
But
minute.
he sang it, right? Did he sing it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so that voice, of course, is Ron Hawkins from Lowest of the Low. We're going to talk about your relationship with Ron. I
Perfect.
reached out to Ron yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I did you write this? And Ron confessed that he absolutely, he's singing that song, but he did not write Giselle's Big Backyard theme song. But still, and I saw on Facebook today, so I reached out to Ron yesterday, and then I guess I reminded him that he did this, and he posted it on his Facebook
I saw
page.
that.
And then I'm like, oh, Ron, what? Where did you get this idea to share your theme from the Giselle's Big Backyard? In fact, and then Chris Tate, and I got to talk about Chris Tate with you too.
Great.
But let's do this. How do you know, and what is your relationship with Ron Hawkins from Lowest of the Low?
Well, Ron, I just met maybe about, I want to say 2 years ago. He and Stephen Stanley and Chris Brown were doing those Brown Hawkins Stanley
They
shows.
played live down here. All
Did
three
they
of
really?
them. Absolutely.
No way.
Yep.
Oh,
all
man.
three of them
Sad
down
I
here. It was
missed that.
amazing.
So I opened a couple shows on that tour. They asked me if I wanted to come, and I'd been getting to know Stephen, and I knew Chris already from years back and being connected to Kingston and Wolf Island, but not well. And I'd really gotten to know Stephen and Chris well, but Ron, I didn't know. And to be totally honest, I've talked about this with Ron. When I first met him, I was like, man, I think this guy might hate me. I'm not sure. Because he just was more quiet, sort of kept to himself.
He gives off those vibes because he's a big fucking punk star.
He's a punk.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like one of the hugest hearted persons I've ever met, and it's just lovely. And so then he ended up through that tour asking me to open for some of his solo shows, and he did. Yeah, we did that last year in Burlington. I opened for him at the Rivoli. It was like 8 shows or something. Went to Buffalo, New York, and
they're not doing that right now.
No,
because he came over and told him and Lawrence Nichols came over, and they said they're not going to the United States right now.
Yeah.
Control your dogs.
Yeah,
is how Andrew Scott put it.
Control your dogs.
Yeah, control your dogs.
Andrew Scott. Wow, what a great reference. I'm such a huge Sloan fan.
They were going to do a Sloan Lowest of the Low concert in Buffalo. They were going to call. They had and Ron had this idea for a sign where it said Sloan, and then you'd put out some lights and it would say Low because they'd spell Sloan L-O-W instead of the proper way. And this whole tour is gone now. But I guess Andrew Scott was the first, the canary in the coal mine who said basically, I'm not, America, there's great Americans, there's some lovely Americans, but control your dogs or I'm not coming over.
Right. Control your dogs meaning like that the craziness happening.
Yeah,
over
like you may not have voted for the man and you may not support, but they're not visiting with that man at the helm. And what's happening down there.
I totally sympathize with that. I mean, I have a potential house show across the border at sometime in the fall, but I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, it's funny you brought up Sloan too, because I know we're going all over. Yeah, but my daughter's name is actually Sloan. So, and that's partially because of the band influence, and my ex and I, Sloan's mom, couldn't come to agreement on any name. We were going back and forth for months, and then she texted me on the way to work one day as I was working for Bose when Tom Green was having his beer put into that brewery.
Bose, which was purchased.
It was purchased. I know.
And so yesterday I record. This is kind of a mind blow. But yesterday, I don't know if you know this, but I recorded here yesterday.
I was worried we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
I know there's gonna be a lot here, but I recorded yesterday with Great Lakes Brewery, sponsors of this show, and they sent over fresh craft beer for you.
Oh wow!
And
so nice.
This podcast is called Between Two Fermenters, and this every episode is like Troy Birch from Great Lakes talks to different like pioneers and icons of the craft beer industry in this country.
Okay.
And the recording yesterday, which will drop Tuesday, while I'm camping under the stars, features the VP of marketing. I think that's the title from Steam Whistle.
Right, who bought
Bose, and there was a whole bunch of chatter about Bose and the tractor icon and everything like that. So Bose was discussed in great detail down here yesterday.
Wow, that's so funny. So there you go. I was on my way to Bose. I worked there for about a year, and my boss was actually Sean Cooley, who was Tom Green's best friend growing up. Great guy, and and he still is, I think, good friends with Tom. Anyway, I was on my way and Jillian, Sloan's mom, texted me. She goes, "What do you think about Sloan?" Right. And I pulled off, like I was almost in Hawkesbury, and I pulled off the road and I called her and I was like, "That's it." And she's like, "Yeah, it was." And also,
when it's the right name.
That's it. And also Sloan Peterson from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, great, strong female character.
100%. How do you spell Sloan, your daughter's name?
With no E, like the band.
Okay. Because you can also then, because if you had an E or whatever, you'd be like, oh, Tara Sloan from Joy Drop.
Oh yeah, no, also. Joy Drop
it's spelled differently.
Yeah, and Sloan with an E, I think, is like there's like teas that are called Sloan teas and stuff. But
okay, Sloan. Okay, so CanCon royalty here. I love talking about it all. So a lot of names we're dropping here, but one of the names I dropped in the mix there was Chris Tate.
Yes.
But when I say the name Chris Tate, I need to clarify because we have 2 Chris Tates. Do you know the lead singer of Chalk Circle is also a Chris Tate?
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
no.
And I won't bore the listenership of this story because devout listeners know this story. But I thought I was booking Chalk Circle's Chris Tate.
Mm-hmm.
And at my door was the Lazarettes Chris Tate.
Oh,
so
funny.
So I had sitting here a different Chris Tate. No prep, nothing. Great episode. You should listen to it. But
I will.
What's your relationship like with Chris Tate from the Lazarettes?
Chris Tate is great. So I met him. Tate is great. That rhymed. We met through Stephen Stanley at a show at the Horseshoe last year, and so it was my band, Chris's band, the Lazarettes, and Stephen Stanley and his band. So we all had a great evening, and Chris put on another show last summer at the Dakota, right? One of the last ones, I think, before it shut down, sadly. And he was like, Maddie, do you want to come and open for this just solo? And I was in the area. I think I was in Prince Edward County at the time with my family. And I said, yeah, I think I can do that. And then this one, he was like, well, we have a new album, but I would like your full band to come. And I was like, well, yeah, I think I can work it for this or whatever. And Chris is just phenomenal dude, like really good guy. His band is great. I think they all have day jobs and stuff, and I'm doing this kind of full time, the music thing. But you know, it's always great to play with people who are welcoming, friendly, accepting, non-pretentious. As you know, in the music world, you meet a lot of pretentious people. So it's nice to meet people who are down to earth and lovely. And that's how the vibes that I get from Chris Tate. 100%.
Well, let me just say on the record, since I've sat, because subsequently I've had the Chalk Circle Chris Tate over.
Okay.
Okay. And we opened with that fun little story. Both Chris Tates are lovely people.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's because they're Canadian musicians. Like, what are you going to be, an asshole? But is it true that you're playing with or opening for the Lazarettes tonight?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, where will you be tonight? So I'm going to drop this right away.
Oh, please. It's at the Monarch Tavern. But the thing is, Mike, it's sold out.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah,
sold out.
But yeah, come by and say hi. Maybe I'll see you outside if you're there. But,
okay, so hello to the Lazarettes, Chris Tate. Hello. By the way, you mentioned to me before we press record, you heard the episode I recorded, my last episode actually, with John Wing.
Yes.
Regarding Ron versus Don. It just so happens in that episode, if you heard it, you heard me reference Wolf Island, where Don Cherry had a cottage forever. And
I didn't get that far, but keep going.
Oh, you haven't got this far.
No.
Spoiler alert. There's a shout out to the Bourbon Tabernacle Choir.
Oh, no way.
Like I just shouted it out for the real heads who know how Wolf Island is connected to Chris Brown and that band. Yeah. And is Stephen Stanley living on Wolf Island now? He
was, I think, but not anymore. I think now he's in Prince Edward County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toronto's losing all the greats. But Stephen Stanley, OG member of Lowest of the Low.
Yeah.
And just speaking of sweethearts, one of the nicest musicians. I saw him recently at Christie Pitts, where he was watching a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball game. Mm-hmm. And this is an opportunity for me to tell you, Christie Pitts has the best value in the city. Take your family because it's free. You get great quality baseball. It's free. You know, they're playing Saturday night, I think at 7:30. Imagine, just take the family, get yourself to Christie Pitts, grab a Leafs lager, a hot dog, and just soak it in. What a great night in the city. So Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, fantastic. I love seeing Stephen Stanley there. I have a book here for you.
Oh, amazing.
Mr. Graven. Can I call you Mr. Graven?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay.
I love it.
This book is on the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. So so far, we're keeping tabs here. You've got fresh craft beer from Great Lakes.
This is incredible.
You got a book on the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball.
Oh,
there will be more for you later, but tell me about your relationship with Stephen Stanley, because when I was looking at where can I see you, Graven, I saw that you're going to be doing a bunch of gigs of Stephen Stanley.
I am. Yeah, Stephen and I did a tour together last fall. And before that, I'll tell you, Stephen was one of the few people who like really came up when I was playing at Wolf Island with my band, just when after COVID had kind of downgraded, I guess, and things were sort of opening. I came over there with my band, played a great show, and it was just a lot of fun. And Stephen came up after and was like, that was so lovely. Like he was just, I was so inspired hearing your band was great, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't know who he was. I'd never met him, but I knew he had a radio show. I didn't know he was from Lowest of the Low. I knew there was a guy named Steven. He has a show called Northern
Wish.
Northern
Wish.
Wish. So
Absolutely.
he has that show, and I knew that he but I didn't know he's from Lowest of the Low. My pedal steel player, Tom Thompson, who's coming tonight, who's played with Jim Bryson and Kathleen, all kinds of people. Tom goes, do you know who that was? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's Stephen. Can you swear on this podcast?
Swear, yeah.
He goes, that's Stephen fucking Stanley, man. And I was like, whoa. And then Tom went up and was just like jaw dropped. And so, but you know, this just shows Stephen has no ego. He's not, he's just like, he's done some huge things in music. Obviously, member Lowest of the Low for a long time, wrote some incredible songs, his own stuff with Stephen Stanley, and Stephen Stanley Band is incredible.
Do you know I saw him play Do you know the name Pete Fowler? Pete Fowler.
Yes, the radio guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now he's like a sergeant with the OPP
Okay.
for a long time now. He left radio to become a cop, basically.
Right.
And I was during the pandemic when we couldn't like see live music. The great Pete Fowler put a concert on in his backyard, and Stephen Stanley played that. It's fantastic.
so cool.
That's where I met Blair Packham. Do you know Blair Packham?
I know the name, but I don't know him. I think. Yeah.
Must have been crazy, played it hot. Should have played it cool. Now I'm just last of the red hot fools.
What band is he from?
The Jitters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've heard
It's all
of
connecting here. But Stephen Stanley, another wild small world connection here.
Yeah. Steven's the best. He just is really like a mensch person. He wants to, and he spends so much time with his show, as I'm sure you do with your podcast, promoting other people. Like he has his own stuff and he's interested in his own music, but he spends so much time championing other bands and musicians. And that's like a real hidden gem of a person to me.
So that Ron versus Don episode you listened to that has the shout out to the Bourbon Tabernacle Choir, that was sort of sparked because of a piece that Gare Joyce published in the Kingston Whig Standard in the newspaper, the Kingston newspaper.
Yeah.
And Gare Joyce when he was younger, mainly he was told by many a person he trusted that he was sort of Stephen Stanley's doppelganger. Like Stephen Stanley and Gare Joyce have a similar look to them. And I just think that's a wild little tie up to the whole conversation we're having here.
Yeah, that is. Did you go to Queens at some point?
No.
Okay. That's why. Well, fell flat there. Did you know what the hats were called that you get at Queens?
Tell me.
The tam. I believe it's called the tam, the Scottish tartan hat that they wear with. I think it's associated with some program. Anyways, I had a lot of friends who went to Queens. A random fact.
Well, that's a good university. You have to be really smart to get in there. So I slummed it at U of T here. But okay. So I kind of breezed by this quickly, but I just want to shine a light on it. And I don't want to bury the lead here. But so your podcast, Graven Town, the most recent episode, what is her last name? What is the last name of Giselle?
Corinthios.
Okay. Is that Greek?
I believe so. And you know why I'll never forget that is because Corinthians is a book of the Bible.
Absolutely.
So,
listen, I was stuck in church on many a Sunday myself.
You did?
Well, because I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic schools,
okay.
yeah. But you still had to kind of know the Bible.
So you know all about the Corinthians then, too.
I recited it. I'm going to recite it for you right now. I'm trying to get rid of the brainwashing. I'm still working on it all these decades later. I know. It's a never-ending battle. And then there's these it's funny because when you mentioned Stephen Stanley and you met him or whatever, I was thinking, so you could go up to him and go, bleed a little while tonight. And then Stephen would say, damn, the circumstance, because that's when him and Ron had that beautiful, what do you call it, harmonizing on that great song. Mm-hmm. And then it's similar, like sometimes I'll hear something in the wild related to like a Catholic mass, and without like having any control over my like vocal box, I'll just go into the ritual because all those Sundays as a kid having this ritualistic chanting, these and also we give thanks, like there's all this like ritual speech that it doesn't come out like it's almost like it gets triggered and you can't stop. Yeah. Like forever. I don't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah. It's true. And to this day, if I walk into a room or am around Christians and people go, let's pray, I'll just probably bow my head without thinking about it. I'm like, I don't, but it's funny, I did that for so long. And if my family, like extended family, will still pray at meals and stuff, and I'll say amen at the end, and I'm like, why did I? But yeah, it's just ingrained. It's ingrained.
You can't, you've been brainwashed there. Okay. So still bouncing around all over the place. Okay. When I asked you if, when you discovered that the religion was hypocritical, what word did I use? Hypocrisy?
Yeah, hypocrisy. Yeah.
I started thinking, do you remember Heroes of Hypocrisy? Do you remember this?
Is this like a hip hop band?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Heroes of Hypocrisy. I haven't thought about them in a very long time, but you saw my T-shirt, and then I started this episode with a little Chuck D.
Yes.
So, and I think I got a few years on you. Can you tell me, you're north of 40, right?
I'm 48. Yeah.
You're 48.
Yeah.
See, you know what? Do you color your mustache?
Good? Yeah, thank you.
I actually had you a bit younger than that. Okay, so we're similar vintage. We're got a couple years here.
See, there's my Christian coming up.
What is God bless me. God bless me, everyone. What is your personal relationship with hip hop?
Jesus Christ. Sorry. Okay.
With hip hop, and then we'll figure out about your music and shit like
so with hip hop, so that's a good question. Way back, probably when I was about 12 or 13, I started making rap tapes in my bedroom with the dual cassette deck players.
Of course.
So I had 2 of those, and with
I'm 51 years old. Of course I know the dual cassette deck.
Dual cassette decks were great, and so what I would do is I figured out how to steal beats off of rap songs that would be open, like that didn't have any rapping, and I would keep dubbing it over and over like it was a real skill, and then I would get a different part of the song, and then I would, with the little condenser mic, nothing but the little condenser mic on the tape recorder, I would record over that with the beat playing in the background, and then that was my whole tiny short-lived bedroom career as MC.
But did you save any of these tapes?
They're around, but MC Man of Steel was my rapper name. So
okay, and then DC Comics sent you a cease and desist.
Yeah, I didn't ever put them out into the world. They just were like cut up, pictures of me on the front of little cassettes with looking hardcore and stuff. And
see, this is a charming story till we find out you were 35 years old when you were doing it.
Yeah, I think the last one I made, I was probably about 16 or 17, and I was trying to be more tough in those years, because I was there was gangster rap was starting to come up, but the stuff I grew up on was all the wordplay.
So what? Give me shout out some artists that you grew up loving.
The first 4 cassettes that I ever had in my life were Run DMC, Raising Hell, Fat Boys Crushin', LL Cool J, Bigger and Deffer, and Beastie Boys License to Ill. Yeah, and I had those 4, and I think I took a picture of them, and I was just like, "Ooh, those 4 tapes really blew my mind." And it was all about wordplay. It was all about fun. It was like put down your opponent, but do it smartly and do it craftily, using words. It wasn't about guns or money or success or anything like that. It was really just about being creative.
I don't remember being introduced to gangster rap, as we called it, until NWA. Same. NWA became a big deal, and I'll confess, I definitely owned some NWA, and
Me too. Straight out of Compton, come on.
I would consider and then I went on to get the solo stuff from Ice Cube, for example.
Me too. I had some of
Death Certificate and Predator. Are those the 2? I can't. Those are 2. I think
could be
something like that. But and they had diss tracks back and forth. No Vaseline, you might remember that? Like this was the diss tracks we listened to. But my hip hop, so similar to you, like those artists you shouted out, these Def Jam artists, and then I guess at some point I was watching Much Music and I saw the video for Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos. This is how I remember it in my mind's eye. It might have been a Spotlight. Do you remember the Spotlight?
Yeah.
So I think it might have been a Public Enemy Spotlight. And then I recorded it to VHS on Much Music.
What was it, Rap City?
No, it was like Spotlight, which is just like, they would be like, okay, we're going to play only songs from one artist.
Okay.
Because I remember recording it to VHS, and I saw Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, but I remember definitely seeing the video for Night of the Living Bassheads. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
That song blew my mind. Anyway, so you end up getting... It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
Which I got soon after those 4 tapes. That changed my mind.
And then because you discover a band on their second album, right? You got to go back and get the first one. Like we all did this with Nirvana. We all had to go back and get Bleach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I miss Bleach.
Yeah.
You go back and you go, this is fucking great too. But that's Yo Bum Rush the Show.
Yeah.
And then they put out an album. You're like, oh, you can't top It Takes a Nation of Millions. But then, in my opinion, they equal it with Fear of a Black Planet.
Yeah, Fear of a Black Planet was crazy. Was that 911 as a joke?
Yeah,
was on there. Yeah,
that's on there
incredible.
For sure. And now here we are in 2025,
Fight
and
the
I'm
Power?
still Fight Power was on that too. I'm still comparing all the new rap because I've got 2 adult children who listen to a lot of current hip hop, but I'm still comparing today's rap to those 3 albums: Yo Bum Rush the Show, Fear of a Black, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, and Fear of a Black Planet. Like everything's held up to that, and then I end up always like, to bring another Simpsons reference into play. Like I always feel like I end up like Abe Simpson, like yelling at the clouds, basically.
Get off my lawn!
Get off my lawn, so to speak.
Yeah, I hear you. You know what? Okay, so to talk Public Enemy shop with you quickly, I love Chuck D. I loved his flow. And I'm still a huge fan of him, but there is something about Flavor Flav that didn't really resonate with me. And
was he too jokey? Because I've seen Public Enemy without Flav, and it's missing that
that's true.
Hype man.
Chuck D is so serious and so intellectual and so smart that I think maybe a lot of it, they wanted that kind of clown.
You need a little boys in there.
He's the jester, right?
And you mentioned 911 as a joke. That's a Flavor Flav, but the first Flav song I ever heard was Cold Lampin'.
Cold Lampin', yeah.
I'm
Great
lamping. I'm cold lamping. Yeah. So, I mean, I personally will
So good.
defend like the role of Flavin and all, because I feel like
Fair.
you need that juxtaposition
Yeah.
with the Chuck. And I don't want to go too deep down this hole, except to say I also did enjoy the album after Fear of a Black Planet, which was called Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black. Do you remember this?
Yeah, sort of.
So I
think
did
was
like
getting
that
out
as a
of that.
fan, but then that's pretty much then everything after that. I think music and Our Message and everything after that.
Yeah.
Just you could sense a creative dip, and I just go back to those first 3 Public Enemy albums.
Yeah. There's a couple songs that Public Enemy came out with, I think, in movies. Like there's one called He Got Game, and that's an
course.
incredible song. And that, like, you know, it's
Stephen
like years,
Stills is on that.
Yes, even years after, it's like, whoa, that blew my mind. And then there was one called Harder Than You Think, or Louder Than You think.
You know, because they had a hit on earlier called "Louder Than a Bomb."
Louder Than
And
a
this was
Bomb. That's a
this
great
was
one too.
Like Harder Than You Think.
Harder
or
Than You
something.
Think, I think is. Yeah, Harder Than You Think kind of starts out with these bam, 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 those horns. Great song. Incredible.
Well, let's put it this way. I literally this week heard new Public Enemy.
Wow.
Like he did it's about ageism, and I was watching the video because I followed Chuck on Blue Sky, and I was thinking, yeah, he's now rapping about like he's got, you know, he's losing his hearing, he's going blind, like he's rapping about being a
jeez.
60-something-year-old man, but it still hits kind of hard. Like he's not
Wow.
trying to be Chuck D as 25-year-old, 30-year-old.
No.
He's now Chuck D as a 60-year-old man.
That's wild. I should really listen to that stuff, because to be still releasing and doing that at his age, it's wild.
Still
That's so
sounds
cool.
good, actually, but I think he takes care of himself. Like he's always talking about, you know, proper diet and not,
Yeah.
you know, not just living on McDonald's and all this. Like he's really been kind of I heard him once do this thing about, you know, get a colonoscopy. Like, you know, he's
great.
really doing that. Okay, so
say.
we both like hip hop.
Mm-hmm. The early days. Oh, I wanted to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's offshoot.
go
but
ahead.
NWA.
Yeah.
Me personally, and I know a lot of people love him, I was never really a fan of Eazy-E. But Ice Cube,
A little bit of a
loved.
squeaky voice, right?
Yeah, and kind of chunky. Like wasn't always on the beat, a little bit his own vibe. I can appreciate him and respect people that like him, but MC Ren, I thought too, great voice, like had a great flow. Dre, obviously, you know, incredible.
So now the album, the first album post Ice Cube, I can't even say the title, but N-Word for Life, basically.
Yeah, okay.
you
Yeah.
know? And I had that, and I remember liking it, but it doesn't age very well. But
Yeah.
it's really misogynist, and it's super misogynist. But
Yeah.
you know, but it definitely sounded to my ears then sort of like it was like it felt dangerous. It's funny because they had a big song on that called "Appetite for Destruction," and I
Yeah.
felt the same way in 87 or whatever it was, 86, 87, when I bought Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses on cassette, where it sounded dangerous. Like I like it when music sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Appetite, you know what? Lots of people around me, again, maybe this is where we're different, but we're huge Guns N' Roses fans. And I think Bryan Adams' Reckless had come out similar in that same sort of timeline, and I was always way more a fan of that stream. Guns N' Roses, again, something about Axl's voice for me, just could never get into it. Later, kind of respected November Rain. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool song, and the solo in that is great, but yeah.
Well, you know, we can't be identical twins
No,
here,
of course.
Graven. That would be ridiculous, because I'll spin Appetite for Destruction right now and dig every tune on that thing. So.
Fair.
And it opens with "Welcome to the Jungle." Those riffs, I think, still one of the
yeah.
greatest band. So I realized, okay, I'm gonna play some of your music in a minute because we got to talk about music.
Okay.
But Giselle's Big Backyard. I've been trying to get back to this a few times. Too many exciting tangents
I'm
with you,
sorry.
Graven.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Giselle's Big Backyard is a blind spot for me, but I did recognize her. And I absolutely must have seen it on TVO. And it's possible, because I have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old, that it's probably because maybe they would be watching like TVO Kids or something.
Oh, for sure they would have.
And
Yeah.
but I understand from your episode on Graven Town that you would watch, like by yourself, you would watch
did.
Giselle's Big Backyard.
Yeah, it would just come on, I think, on TVO when I was sort of breaking up with, well, not quite breaking up, but getting close to the end of my marriage. I was married for almost a decade to somebody, and I was pretty depressed. I worked at a call center. I really hated my life. And yeah, her show would come on sometimes, and I would just sort of be like, oh, it was very calming, you know, and very like predictable and lovely. Not predictable, but just like she had this way of this welcoming air to her.
Well, even on your podcast, she's full of energy.
Oh,
like I felt like she
yeah.
was a self-starter. Like you I mean, you're doing a great job over there, but you didn't have to be there. You know what I mean? You just introduced the guest, and then she was going to go.
Oh my gosh, she is. Yeah, she apologized to me after on the phone. She's like, I talk so much, and I'll just go off. And I was like, no, that's awesome. That's what you want, right? You don't want to sit there and be
Pulling
like,
teeth.
yeah, being like, so how was this? Good.
And she very quickly volunteered the Mind Blow, because I don't think I ever caught the theme song, because that voice is, you wouldn't miss that voice. But the fact that it's Ron Hawkins from Lowest to the Low singing the theme song to Giselle's Big Backyard, I think that is an absolute bona fide mind blow and fun fact.
Can I read you a fun text that Ron sent me while you think of another question?
Of course.
About that song?
When was this text sent?
He sent it right after that episode, because I told Giselle, I'm like, I didn't know that, and I'm going to text him. Okay, here it is. So I said, dude, I just interviewed Giselle from Giselle's Big Backyard, da-da-da-da-da. She said you had written the song or sang it or whatever. And he wrote, haha, yes. I remember wandering into that studio in a black trench coat and black docks stinking of booze and terribly hungover, like a true children's performer.
That's funny.
That was the beginning of it. So I don't think he would not care to about that story. But it's just so funny, like, right? The juxtaposition of walking into a children's studio to record a song.
Yeah, it is. I just wouldn't think Ron doing that, but hey, it works.
It works. It's a great
Too bad
song.
he didn't write it, though.
No. But hey, to have a show, like that's what I was talking with her about, for 11 years, I mean, that's almost, when do you ever see that these days? That's like almost an impossibility.
That's Fred Penner type longevity.
Totally. She had the Wiggles on her show before they were anywhere. She had Bare Naked Ladies in their younger, sort of.
That would be a good fit. Early Bare Naked Ladies with Giselle in the Big Backyard there.
Yeah, early BNL.
Okay, early BNL. That's Yellow Tape era, and I still love that Yellow Tape.
Yeah,
that Yellow Tape. Ready for the way it all connects?
Done. Yeah.
Fight the Power is on that Yellow Tape.
Oh, is it? Wait, is that also Gordon? Is that
Gordon's the one they made. That's their first full length album that comes next.
Okay.
So there are songs on Yellow Tape that appear on Gordon. Fight the Power not being one of them. But the Yellow Tape, which I actually ended up owning 2 copies of that, which was put out by Stephen Page's dad. And that's also, Stephen Page's dad also put out Lowest of the Lows, Shakespeare My Butt.
No way. That's so cool.
And if you watch the Great Simon Head doc, I have it here.
Oh, do you really? Oh, beautiful.
Can't see it because, you have a DVD. Do you have a DVD player? I'd lend it to you because I don't have a DVD player. But this is Subversives, which is the Lowest of the Low documentary that FOTM Simon Head made. And Stephen Page's dad and brother are in this documentary talking about putting out Shakespeare My Butt, because they also put out the Yellow Tape.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Is there is there some mention of Stephen Stanley? Is he on here?
Oh my God, he's all over that documentary.
Cool.
Of course. I don't know. There was frosty moments in those the relationships, but currently they are friends again.
They are. Can I tell you a cool story about that? So we played a show in Burlington, Stephen and I, back in September. And Ron said, "Oh, I'm buying a ticket to just come and hang out with you guys," which is so cool. And he came down, and then Stephen, during his performance, goes, "So I'm going to get Ron up to do this song together." And I'm pretty sure the song you were talking about, where they have that great
Bleed a Little While Tonight, which is a great song.
They did this harmony back and forth, but before they sang it, Stephen and him both sort of talked openly to this crowd of like 40 people all crammed into the Edison Room, great place in Burlington, by the way, shout out, about their feud and about how they had a long time where they didn't talk and it was very difficult. But I was like,
Stephen quit the band.
And I was like, how cool is to see 2 grown men talking about their beef in an open forum? It's really good and healing for people, I think, to see
Not to toot my own horn, but those exact conversations have happened in this basement with both Ron Hawkins and Stephen Stanley.
Wow.
So that's cool. There you go. That's our purpose in all of this here.
Amazing.
Okay. I just missed you. You played at the Garrison for that Bookie tribute night where Tragically Hip covers were performed.
Yeah.
When in that, I'm just trying to understand how I missed you. Like, when did you hit the stage? Was it?
I'm going to say, I think it was the start or maybe the start of the second set or near the end of the first. Either way, it was more towards the middle.
What song did you cover from the Tragically Hip?
It was In View. And let me tell you, It just rocked for whatever reason. It just, everything worked. And I think it was more of an upbeat song for the band. You know, it's got that really like driving do drum beat that starts.
Do 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 do.
You got it, exactly. So just everyone came up, and it's one of those hip songs I think that people don't always think about, but they're like, oh, phone rings once, phone rings twice. Like they know that part. And so everyone was singing along with that. And it just, God, it was one of the most beautiful moments ever. Coming off stage, and I'd never even met him. Kevin Drew was right there, and he was like, dude, that was amazing. Oh my God. And he gave me this big hug. And yeah, it was just like everyone coming on and off doing one song. So many beautiful musicians in one room. It was unreal.
Well, I'm going to ask you about one specifically in a moment. In fact, she's playing tonight at the Baby G. But so there's a teaser for you. But I'll say I was there that night, and Josie Dye was hosting, and I was soaking it all in. And
you're like, I'm not going to watch Graven.
You know what, though? It's possible I did. So that night there was a big Leafs game on.
Okay.
I know there's no excuse, but I spent time in the parlor, like in the and I
was up there too. Yeah.
So, interesting. So I saw Talia Schlanger was there, and anyways, a bunch of people I know and was hanging. But my third born child was phoning me because we took a big lead in that game, and then we blew that game, if I remember correctly. But he would phone me every time the Leafs score, and then the TV in that parlor was like about, I don't know, 90 seconds behind. So I will get a phone call.
Oh, no.
I would get a phone call, which is fine because I was trying to watch the concert, right? You know, Elliot Lefko and Stephen Stanley put this together.
Yeah.
So I would get a phone call from Jarvis, and he'll be like, Tavares scored. And it would be like 3-0 or something. And then I'd go to the parlor, and there'd be dudes there, and the game plays going on, and I would do something like this. I'd be like, pay attention, something big is about to happen, and then it would happen. Like it was like I was predicting the future.
That's so cool. That's
predicting the future. But I did miss a little bit because I was so preoccupied by this game. But the woman I want to ask you about is named Skye Wallace.
Oh yeah. Frig, I love Skye.
So Skye Wallace is performing tonight. It's her last performance before she gives birth because she's 8 months pregnant. She came on the show very recently. She's going through her sexy pregger era with her iced tea and all that. Speaking of, we talked about Ice Cube. Now it's time to talk about iced tea. But how do you know Skye Wallace?
Skye, okay. So she has someone who plays in her band named Jason Jang, and he plays with another band called
Limblifter. Wrong guy.
Jason Jang plays with a band called The Beachmen here in Toronto, and they're like a Beach Boys tribute. They're not a cover, but they really, really do Beach Boy stuff well. And my cousin Ben is in that band. So I've played a show or two with the Beachmen over time, and Jason I just knew. And I was like, oh, Jason plays with Skye. But Skye and I've always crossed paths. Like I interviewed her on my podcast a while back, and we always just connected like online, or just sort of similar senses of humor. And I never met her until that night. So that was really fun. And then we just were chatting like, oh my God, first time meeting. I was like, congrats. And then I was just at Four Winds Music Fest this past weekend where Strumbellas were playing. She played, and she also was on stage with Strumbellas doing a tune as well.
I like her very much, but the first time I ever saw her was she was opening for Lowest of the Low.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I invited her over to chat about it, but so it's kind of funny how it all kind of
we're all connected. I mean, the Canadian music scene, I think there's a part of it, and it's funny that, you know, because you're Toronto Mike, and so much of it runs through Toronto, right? Like it has to, like coming from coast to coast. It's just this big hub that connects a lot of people, I think.
Well, that's how Sloan ended up here.
Right, from Halifax.
Although it's interesting, the Tragically Hip, only Gord ended up here.
The Marquee and the Moon.
Right, yes. Yeah.
The clientele can go to hell if they want to get in for free, right? Because hell was the club below the Marquee.
Okay. The fact I always bring up at this point is that Biff Naked even ended up here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Where was she from?
Well, she's from Winnipeg, but she lived 35 years in Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
So she was based in Vancouver through her heyday, and now she's in Mimico. So that's all you really need to know about what's happening here. I am going to give you another gift, Graven. Okay. It's going so well, and we haven't even got to your music yet. So I have in my freezer a large lasagna from Palma Pasta. Do you enjoy lasagna?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. I would super enjoy that.
So it pairs nicely with the GLB. The best Italian food not made by a nonna, basically.
Okay.
So, in fact, some argue it was made by a nonna, because it was Palma Petrucci whose recipes that they use. The late great Palma Petrucci, the namesake for Palma pasta. But people should go to palmapasta.com, and you can visit their stores in Mississauga and Oakville. And it's delicious, man. You got a lasagna.
Are they in Etobicoke too, or no?
No, but I do believe that you can now buy their lasagnas at some Longos.
Oh, okay.
So,
very cool.
Who knows what's next. But go to palmapasta.com for more. You'll love it. So, Graven, you can report back what you think of the lasagna.
Thank you, Mike. That's so sweet.
And a tip. So, you live in Toronto, right?
I actually live in Ottawa.
So, what are you doing here? That's a long drive to come on Toronto Mind.
Well, I played a little show last night in Port Elgin, so up north, near kind of Sauble Beach area. So about a 2.5 hour drive from here. So it just sort of worked time-wise. And Chris, I do play in Toronto fairly often because I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm from Ottawa, but I can't just play in Ottawa as an original musician. This city doesn't really support it, sadly. You have to kind of go elsewhere.
So that explains the Tom Green connection.
Yeah. Yeah, I met him a couple times, but he wouldn't know me, but he's just a good dude.
And here's the link back to David Letterman. We were talking about the talk show hosts we loved back in the day, the late night talk show host. But of course, the big moment in Letterman history is Drew Barrymore flashing him on his birthday. Drew Barrymore, once married to Tom Green.
Yeah, that's right. And Norm Macdonald, when he had Dave on his podcast, joked about that and said, well, what was the joke? I can't remember. He said, so you had Lorne Michaels here. What did he do? And he goes, well, he got up on the table and did a go-go dance and lifted it. And he goes, then Dave's like, no. He doesn't want any nuisance, right? And he goes, well, what was it like when you had some other guest here? And he goes, he got up on the table and did a go-go dance. He just loves embarrassing
Norm was
people,
the
right?
best.
Norm is my guiding light, I think, in many ways.
Well, he's another guy, though, from Ottawa who ended up here at Yuck Yucks.
Yes.
Mark Breslin brought him into the big show here.
Mark Breslin, Mr. Yuck Yucks. Yeah.
Mr. Yuck Yucks. Still going strong.
Yeah,
Mark
he
Breslin.
would be maybe 80 or something now.
He's 80. He's got I don't even know how old the son is now, but he might be a teenager at this point. It's been a while, but if he's not a teen, he's a preteen.
Yeah.
So it's a going concern there. Okay, so I want to just tell you, so where is this Lazarette show tonight? You probably told me, but where is it?
It is at the Monarch on Queen.
Okay, so that's why you're in town.
Yeah, I'm just in town for that, to play this show with my band tonight to open, and it's a sold-out album release show for the Lazarettes. I think Ron Hawkins helped them produce this record. So
yeah, because ready for this, when Ron and Lawrence came over to talk about their new album, this is maybe 1 or 2 months ago, Chris Tate came over to give unmarked bills to Ron Hawkins, in an envelope. There was a payment exchange that I witnessed.
Oh, sounds seedy.
And the joke I said to Chris Tate, hopefully he's listening, is I said, this is the second time you were at my studio door and I didn't expect you to be at. The second unannounced, because the first time I thought he was going to be the guy from Chalk Circle.
Oh, that's so funny.
And the Chalk Circle, first band I ever saw in concert when they played the Forum at Ontario Place. And this was 85 or so. So
would have Chalk Circle have played shows with Change of Heart?
It's funny you mentioned Change of Heart because I just put a surprise Mike-umentary. So we're talking on a Friday, July 18.
We sure are.
And I'm going camping, so I'm not recording for a week. I'm taking a week off. But I am going to have one little Mike-umentary drop into the feed that I prepared. And it's all about It's all about Change of Heart's album Smile from 1992.
Oh, wow.
Literally, this is... And on this episode, you will hear... you'll hear from the man himself, Ian Blurden.
No way. Well, he was in that house band that night. And so he and Anna, it was my first time playing with any of them, and Judd and Jody Brummel is the drummer. And unbelievable house band, just crushed. And I remember talking with Ian. I'd never met him before, and we were chatting outside.
Great guy.
And I said, I was just watching this, because we're talking about Pink Floyd for whatever reason. I said, I just watched this Jack Black interview, and he said he's doing these things called chronothons now, where he goes for walks and he'll listen to an artist's entire work. So he started with Pink Floyd, and Jack Black was saying it wasn't until, I think, Dark Side of the Moon, where he started really getting interested, listening back to it now. And Ian Blurton goes, you know what my favorite Pink Floyd album was? The first one. And then after that, they all got. He was very like passionate about it.
And I feel like they were called the Pink Floyd
were they
back then. Yeah, I think
What was
so.
the first record even called by that?
Couldn't tell you, man.
Me neither.
This is
I'm not a Pink Floyd fan.
before my time.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was called. They were called the Pink Floyd.
But I was telling that to Ian, and he was like, "You know what their best album was? The first one." And then it all
Well,
went
Blurting,
downhill.
some of that stuff, particularly with Bernard Meza on keyboards, it gets really psychedelic.
Yes, totally. I know.
So it's funny you mentioned Ian Blurton and Change of Heart, because the mockumentary that will drop on Monday morning while I'm camping under the stars is going to feature some Ian Blurton, and it's about a very
fan.
important moment in Canadian music history related to the album Smile from 1992.
Very cool.
So look at this moment. Look, everything's kind of. But okay, so I don't know how long you're in town for, but I want to tell you about a couple of things happening Saturday, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Unity Fest 25. We spent some time, Graven, talking about hip hop. Well, Canada's National Hip Hop Festival is back for its 17th year.
Cool.
You can experience countless ways to explore culture, expand knowledge, and express yourself. You don't want to sleep on Unity Fest 25. This is happening on the waterfront, Toronto's waterfront, July 19. That is tomorrow night. That's Saturday night. So maybe it's during the day. I shouldn't even say night, but go check it out online. Learn more. There's dance battles and exhibitions. You got DJs, live musical performances. There's, of course, food. There's a marketplace.
Very cool.
You can, meet and greets. It's going to be a cool fest. Unity Fest 25. Okay.
Will Maestro Fresh West be there?
Well, he's in New Brunswick now.
Oh,
we
right.
lost him during the COVID. He went to
Dang.
New Brunswick. I'm looking at Let Your Backbone Slide, the 12-inch. Do you see it back?
Okay, I can kind of see. Oh, yeah.
So he autographed that for me
Whoa.
during one of his visits. I'm a big Maestro fan. The last episode of Toast, we talked
Unreal.
about Stick to Your Vision.
Hey, can I tell you, because I saw the Much Music little thing on the wall there too.
Yeah.
And we were talking so
Big
much
Much
about
guy.
rap. I, playing in Burlington, again at the Edison Room, the owner goes, "Hey, this guy's going to come by. He might hang out for some of your
Can I
shows."
guess?
Michael Williams.
Michael Williams.
Yeah.
You didn't let me guess.
Hey, sorry.
I so kindly asked, can I guess? And then
yeah,
you told me the
know
answer.
What? I heard you say it.
But I just want you to know I was going to say Michael Williams.
It's amazing. But I was so starstruck, right? Because I loved that show. So I was just like, man, I'm a huge fan, Ryan. He was just like so gracious and lovely.
Well,
Yeah.
because you said the name Michael Williams, I'm now contractually obligated to play this.
No Cleveland, no Bowie.
It's Michael Williams on Toronto Mike. No Cleveland,
What's
no
that
Bowie.
in reference to? Give me the.
Well, he's from Cleveland, first of all.
Okay.
And he has an argument, and I don't necessarily agree with him, but he believes that without Cleveland embracing David Bowie, there's no David Bowie as we know him today. Like he claims it, and he's got some
Was he the
compelling
pipe-
arguments.
He was the pipeline for Bowie to USA.
Yes, to
Cleveland.
break in the States.
Wild.
Sort of the way, similarly, I suppose, Rush. Like if Rush, so do you know this story? I'll do it in a
If Rush
nutshell
had,
here.
if
So
Rush had,
Rush had their first album,
Okay,
which had a
yeah.
different drummer. It didn't have Neil Peart. It was a different drummer. This album was kind of not flopping or whatever, but they kind of independently made this first album. And there's a guy named Bob Roper who would send albums to Donna Halper, who was working at a big Cleveland radio station.
Okay.
And Donna was looking for like imports, and then Bob said, "Oh, here, I'm going to send," mails her this Rush album. And Donna's going through the Rush album, and Donna hears a song she thinks that the Cleveland listenership will enjoy. The song was called Working Man.
Wow.
And she plays it. And then the request line, back in the day, the request line lights up. Next thing you know, they're bringing Rush in to play live. This song is a hit in Cleveland. And you can,
Really?
without a doubt, no Cleveland, no Rush.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
interesting.
I had Don Halper on this program to get that full story. But Bob Roper, I don't think he's done any other podcast. If you want him for your Graven, what's it called again? Graven. What's the rest of the name of your podcast?
Oh, Graventown.
Graventown.
Sorry.
I was going to call it Gravenhurst. Why don't you call it Gravenhurst? Just kidding.
No.
So in Graventown, you got to get Bob Roper. Then you could be the second one to get Bob Roper.
You know who I think Bob Roper is maybe spending his time with these days is Mr. Furley. Heyo.
Bob Roper got screwed, and Mrs. Roper got, not Bob Roper, Mr. Roper and Mrs. Roper got screwed because they left Three's
make the
Company
Ropers.
to make the
Yes.
Ropers.
And then who comes in?
And then Mr. Furley, Don Knotts, comes in.
Yes.
But then they cancel the Ropers pretty quickly.
Yeah, they did.
But they don't let the Ropers back.
Nope.
Because they got Furley in place now,
Yep.
and he's going gangbusters. So really, they got fucked.
That's a Norm story that I heard him tell, because he goes, yeah, Mr. Rope, the guy who plays Mr. Roper, they said, we're going to do a spinoff. It's going to be great. Do the Ropers. And he goes, well, if it doesn't work, can I come back to the show? And they said, yeah, fine. And who comes in? Don Knotts.
I mean, they're done.
Don Knotts is,
You know who was on the Ropers?
comic gold.
Hank Kingsley. Hey now.
Oh, really?
He was on the Ropers.
Hank. Oh, Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor
Unreal.
was
I love-
on the Ropers.
He was great on Arrested Development.
Oh.
Big fan.
Me too. Massive fan of Arrested Development.
Yeah.
All right, another event I need to tell you about is happening Saturday night. If you're not all about the hip hop on the waterfront, then get your butts to Christie Pitts, because the Maple Leafs are playing some great baseball at Christie Pitts that night under the lights. Saturday night. Be there. Don't miss it, man. This is the best value in town. No ticket required. Great baseball. You can drink without worrying about the cops. You can crack open a can of GLB if you want on the hill at Christie Pitts. So that's where you go. I think first pitch is scheduled for 7:30 this Saturday. Get yourself to Christie Pitts. The season winds down at the end of August, so you got about a month of Toronto Maple Leafs action before it all comes to an end.
Very cool. Does anyone being from Ottawa, does anyone ever get confused when you're talking about Maple Leafs with the hockey and baseball?
Of course, because that hockey team is rather well known. So, here can I play some of your music, and then we can
Please.
talk about your music here.
Love to.
Okay. So I can't even remember speaking of whatever the chrono walks are that
The chronothon.
Chronothon.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't remember the chronological order of this. So I'm
No
just going
worries.
to play something, and you can tell me what the hell I'm playing. Okay.
Go for it. Yeah. That's In the Woods of Me.
Early I do rise.
It's like circa,
Sun is barely.
Yeah. What year are we talking about here?
this would be like 2017, I think that came out-ish.
I punch the clock and sigh.
Stereo guitar kicks in there.
Watch the forklifts rolling by.
I worked at a lumberyard back then, lots of lumber terminology.
Sleeping on my mind. Red oak slivers in my hand. The grind of the radial saw is the hard sound of becoming a man.
The grind of the radial saw is a hard sound of becoming a man. Good lyric. Thank you.
Organize high piles of western red cedar. Thoughts race through my mind receiver. But there's no way I'm not thinking of you at the end of the day. No, there's no way I'm not thinking of you at the end of the day. No, there's no way I'm not thinking of you at the end of the day.
Yeah. Someone was recently talking about this song, this whole album. It's called Jaybird, and I recorded most of it with this guy named Tom Brown in Kemptville. He sadly had passed away, but great audio engineer, had just great ears, and was really just done in a basement in Kemptville. And Tom is like friends with Jim Bryson. He's friends with lots of well-known Canadian people. He was a piper, a bagpiper, and yeah, got some great sounds on this album.
When did you, Graven, realize that you wanted to perform music?
I had played in other people's bands for a long time and was like a guitar player, like a rhythm guitar player, and I could sing back up. I could do harmonies. I played bass. I played drums. I think I played drums before I played any of the other stuff, but I could do all of those things kind of average. And but yeah, probably at a young age, I took piano lessons, but I didn't really get into guitar until about 14, 15, something like that.
Now, I'm going to play another song because I believe a very well-known Canadian songwriter and let's just say a musical icon is involved here, and I want to get that story here. So let's
Sure.
go to another Graven song.
It's like this. It's like behind the music.
And I like
Oh,
how you
yeah.
talk over your jam. Like it's like pop-up video.
I like that too. Yeah, this is in Joel Plaskett's studio out in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Joel fucking Plaskett.
Yep. Good dude. Good friend.
I want him on Toronto Mic'd.
Simple, complex.
I can make that happen for you, Mike.
You promise?
Yeah, I do.
Don't check my
Okay.
text.
I want it very badly.
Got an algorithm for dealing with my friends.
Yeah, this song's a bit of, like has been played on CBC and all over different spots. Been trying to work, shop it around for TV and movies and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely one that sort of pops, indie pop, rock vibes,
So it's called Simple Complex.
Mm-hmm.
And it did end up getting you into a corporate video, right?
Yeah, that's right. Juniper. Yeah, my this old friend named Kevin, haven't talked to him for a while, but he helped connect me with this company named Juniper that he was working for, and they were looking to profile a musician. And so they did this sort of feature video about me. I think it got some views and sort of traction here and there, but I don't know if it really did anything. I didn't even really get paid for it. It was just
Wait,
sort
you
of
didn't
fun
get
to
any
do.
money for that?
No, I didn't. I was just
Come on.
looking to. He said, "Why don't you try doing this thing?" And it was a really, really pro-looking video, but no, I didn't get a dime.
But don't you
just-
think you should be? I mean, these big companies can
I should.
afford to pay you for your work.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing. Getting older and I have a kid, like an 8-year-old daughter, and so I don't really do a lot of free stuff now. I can do the odd charity thing, like that hip show was so much fun, and different things like that for an amazing cause. But yes, mostly it is my job. So when people are like, we really want you to come out and play this show, but we can give you some drink tickets and then we'll see it. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. Maybe when I was 18, but not now.
Well, do you want me to get Lauren Honickman to write a letter for Juniper? We can see if we can get some back wages.
Yeah, please. Yeah, if you want to. I'd love that.
No more corporate videos for free from Graven. Maddie McKechnie. Okay, so I dig it. I'm digging it.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So Joel Plaskett, what, you just said, hey, can I work with you? Or
No, well, I've known Joel for a long time. Like I went on a tour with him just as a videographer, like to film some stuff. And so I knew him through a mutual friend of his named Charles Austin from a band called Super Friends. You know Super Friends?
Of course.
Okay.
I saw a member of Super Friends at the Sloan garage sale.
Which member?
Name the members.
Okay, Dave Marsh, Charles Austin.
Is Matt Murphy in there?
Yeah, Matt Murphy.
It was Matt
Sorry.
Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Matt Murphy have a similar vibe, I want to say.
Well, he had his kids or something. I almost went up and I didn't know he lived in Toronto, first of all, Matt Murphy,
Yeah.
but he was there to see Chris Murphy.
Matt Murphy, Super Friends, forget about it. Unreal songs, and they were great. But then when he went on to do Flashing Lights, I really felt like, oh, they're going to explode, because seeing Flashing Lights on stage and Matt Murphy doing his thing in full, stage man persona guy, they just had this real The Who kind of vibe, and were just so good. But yeah, it just goes to show you it's not easy in the music world.
But Joel Plaskett, big fucking deal. Get a future FOTM thanks to Graven.
Yeah, I'll work it. But yeah, so Joel and I have been in touch.
People.
I love that song. He, since doing that video for his tour, which my friend Charles helped set up, we're always in touch. And I will say about Joel, nicest guy in the world, and to this day, we will come, and if he plays anywhere near Ottawa, he'll usually text me, or I'll text him and say, he'll say, do you want tickets for the show or whatever? He's
Get you on a list.
He's like a total mensch, has no ego at all, and is just I saw him one time talk to my friend Brendan after a show in Kingston about how he mics his amps for the show, and he talked to him for 15 minutes, just going down this nerdy tech hole, and Brendan was just his mind was exploding. Joel just talk to anybody. He's the greatest dude. And yeah, I'll text him, and I see him when I can from time to time, and he's a friend for sure. Joel's amazing. Recording with him was so great.
Well, you got some homework now. Have you ever seen the movie 1 Week?
Yes.
Not to be confused with
Joshua
the number
Jackson.
one, right? Not to be confused with the number one Billboard Hot 100 song by the aforementioned Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
Joel
1 week.
Plaskett's in 1 Week.
Yeah, he plays a busker. Yeah.
Can you name 2 other Canadian musicians who appear in 1 Week?
See, I saw it once. I think when it came out, or I rented it or something.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh yeah, maybe I did see it in the theater. So, oh man, I know.
I
one
can
is
help you.
Wait, it's not Jen Arden. No. There's a female.
There is a female.
Yes. I want to say. Oh man.
In fact, I produce a podcast for a producer named Avi Federgreen, and Avi Federgreen, who will be on Toronto Mike himself, he's got a great story, but he takes full credit for this this singer-songwriter being in the movie 1 Week.
Oh man, I'm trying to think.
He takes full credit, and we'll
It's
find
not,
out.
is it what's her name? Davnett Doyle?
Good
No.
guess. That's a good guess.
Okay, in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Man, I'm drawing a huge.
Okay,
blank.
I'm going to tell you now. Okay, this is she's an FOTM. That's not going to help you, but
Okay.
M. Griner.
Oh, you know what? Her name actually popped through my head for a second.
Okay,
So.
M. Griner is in this movie 1 Week, and
Very cool.
also,
Who else?
we talked about you playing. What song did you perform from the Tragically Hip again?
In View.
In View. I want to say something about In View in a minute.
Gord was in it? Gord's
Gord
in it.
Downey.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
So it's M.
Yeah.
Griner, Gord Downey, and Joel Plaskett in that movie 1 Week.
That's an insane thing. And Joel has done some incredibly cool stuff, I think, for East Coast. He's revitalized, like Dartmouth, Nova Scotia used to be kind of a seedy area, and he has helped really to do a lot of work to redefine that area. And it's awesome over there. I was just there in 2022. And and I was just there last year. Sorry, in 2024 in the fall to visit some friends, and Dartmouth is hopping. It's like a little. It's got a vibe. It's craft breweries, all kinds of stuff going on.
It's got a vibe. This song's got a vibe here.
Oh, thanks, man. Now, every instrument you hear in this song is all played by me.
Wow.
When you appear
You're like Billy
to me,
Corgan.
Yeah, yes. Dave Grohl.
May you take the form of a tree.
Prince.
Little Prince.
We'll name all the great artists who play all this.
That way no arguing we will make.
Yeah, this song's about trees and
Grow
relationships.
together till our branches break. And live again.
Yeah, my thing is always like I can play enough of what I need to fit in songs, but I don't know if I could play drums like with a band live like every night doing it. It's just I think it'd be too tedious. But I for my own songs, I've been doing it so long that I think what can fit, and I don't need to overplay or do anything crazy. So in the studio where no one's really watching, it's fine. You can take as many takes, as you want. So that's really fun. And yeah. But this is really fun to go back and recording with Charles Austin from Super Friends way back in Halifax. We kind of started my journey. I did a lot of stuff on my own, and he helped as well. And we just played all the instruments together. And this was fun to go back. The last couple albums, I had different people playing, different parts, and hired session players to come in, and which was also great. But it was nice to go back for this new record and just do it, guerrilla style, solo YOLO.
What's the name of the new album?
It's called Always Everything.
Yeah, I understand it's your most downloaded and streamed album to date.
It is, yeah, surprising.
I've done my homework.
Yeah, you have. It is, yeah. It's sort of surprising too, and I'm just an independent dude. I don't have. I have a guy who sort of helps me with booking, but I don't have a manager. I don't really have an agent. I don't have a record label. I don't know if you're supposed to say that, but whatever. I've had some really cool.
You're
things.
fiercely independent.
Yeah, and I've had some really cool things happen to me just doing it the way that I want to do it. And honestly, I was just talking with so I was listening to a podcast of this producer on the Tim Heidecker podcast. I think it's called Office Hours. It's really great. Anyways, he was saying this producer, musician guy was on there who's about 35. And he said he met this guy, I think in Cleveland, not mistaken. Anyway, this guy was about my age, 48, and had some great songs. And he pitched it to his label, and he's like, I want to produce this guy's record. And the label was like, sure, yeah, that sounds good. You'll be behind it. And this guy, 35-year-old, kind of got a name. Can't remember his name. And then they were working on it. And then eventually the label was like, yeah, we just think he's too old. So there's just a lot of ageism, unfortunately.
Well, that's what the new Public Enemy song is about.
There you go.
Ageism.
Yeah. It's unfortunately still a lot of that. And I don't, as much as labels can help at my age and what I'm doing and the things I've been able to do, I can do whatever I want. Like I can play as many times as I want in a month, or I can take time off. I think labels sometimes work in the sense of being kind of banks or lenders for these artists. They'll give them big sums of money, right, to go and record, and then
it's a loan, right?
Yeah, that's it. And they got to pay it back. And then sometimes I've heard it can take them 2, 3, 4 albums to pay back what they owe from the first one.
I feel like it might have been Sky Wallace. I want to credit her with it. She's basically said, like, her performing music.
Yeah.
Her goal is to lose as little money as possible.
I know. It's crazy, man. And at her level, too, like, she's so great. And there's so many. I mean, Stars, huge band from Montreal. I'm a huge fan. They had to cancel a huge tour recently because they were realizing they were going to lose like 10 or 20 grand on the tour.
Okay, now I need to tell you the story.
Okay,
so I had
please.
Sam Roberts in the basement.
Oh, nice.
From Montreal.
Good old Sambo.
But I had secretly arranged for Amy Milan to sneak through the side door. I left the side door. So
Amy's
halfway
the
into the
best.
chat with Sam, Amy comes down to surprise Sam. So they hadn't talked in a long time, but they both live in Montreal. But
That's
so
so
they had to
funny.
come to New Toronto to reconnect, even though they both live in Montreal.
Oh, my God. How's that for funny?
Yeah, and Torquil Campbell has also been on the program as well,
Oh,
and I'm a big
man.
Stars guy too.
I bet Torkel would be an incredible interview.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So verbose.
Well, he tells it like it is, and
Yes.
that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I don't want everyone to come in and make it sound like, oh, the Canadian music industry, everybody's like
No.
Neil Young and Joni Mitchell here.
No.
Like it's kind of a mind blow when you find out that artist you love has a day job.
Yeah, I know. It's very sad. I've been lucky.
But you don't have a day job.
I don't really. I have some other seasonal stuff that I can do kind of in the winter. I work at a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah.
And then I sometimes work at this camp and help out in their kitchen and do some food prep. But that's very, very on the side. Like I'm lucky enough to do music, but man, I'm telling you, I have to hustle and I have to play a lot of shows by myself. If you want to play consistently in Canada with a band, it's really tough. Because when I play solo, whatever money I make, I keep it, right? So when you're playing with a
it's funny you
band, you got to
mention this.
play with people.
Yeah.
You got to pay them, and they're great. And you need these performers, but you got to get butts in the seats, sell tickets. And who's buying advance tickets to shows right now? Not many people, and they do it like 2 or 3 days before the show. I don't know why that's a trend, but if you talk to most musicians in Canada,
It feels like all the oxygen gets taken up by the Oasises and the Coldplays and
of
the
course.
Taylor Swifts. It's like, so you got this like whatever 0.01% that
Yeah.
takes up all the oxygen.
Yep. That's so true. And I mean, I know Toronto probably has corporate festivals, but there's one in Ottawa called Ottawa Blues Fest.
Of course,
Big one. And
legendary.
They have Green Day this year and Father John. The year I played, 2018, is the only time I played. And they had like Foo Fighters and Beck were there. And people
Jeez.
just go crazy to play at these festivals. But here's the thing, Mike, is that every year I see, and I'm maybe talking out of school, and maybe this will not be controversial.
This is
but
real talk.
but they'll book artists, local artists who have played 2 years previous or like a year previous, and they don't even have any new albums out. I mean, Jim Bryson, for God's sakes, Ottawa Blues Fest, get Jim Bryson back. The guy hasn't played there since 2008. And I'm like, how is that possible? It's insanity. The guy lives in Ottawa. He's an Ottawa music icon. And I played in 2018, so I'm good. That's relatively recent.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I'd love to play again.
7 years ago.
I know. No, it is 7 years, and I put out a lot of stuff consistently, and I'm making waves in different areas. But again, I feel like just like what you're saying, this is the attention that people have musically on these big events, the big passes for the big festivals, the big Coldplay shows or whatever. And then they're like, oh, my budget's done for the summer. That was my
All the
thing.
money goes to Green Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez, where's the money for Graven? Okay, so I'm going to Jim Bryson, by the way.
Give me some of that Green Day money, friends. Just a
Jim
bit.
Bryson is Ottawa-based.
Yeah.
You're Ottawa-based.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else I should be aware of who's Ottawa-based?
Not that
Is there an
know.
Ottawa Mike? Is there an Ottawa
No.
Mike that's doing like?
There's a guy named Mike Wood in Ottawa who is like an events guy who does a lot of stuff for people there. But yeah, no, I don't think there's an Ottawa Mike. You're
Oh, good, because I was going to call Lauren Honigman and send a letter to Ottawa Mike off my turf.
I love it.
It's like a franchise.
Can I
here.
get Lauren on my retainer as well, please? I'd love that.
Listen, I've had to use Lauren, doing over 1,700 episodes once in a while.
By the way, I was going to congratulate you on that, dude, because I was just listening. I'm a big listener of Mark Maron. I don't know if you are.
Well, I'm absolutely familiar with him. I've seen him as an actor and stand-up, and I'm well aware of him. And he gets people like, WTF, which is winding down this fall.
It's winding down, and he has about a little few... Did you say 1,700?
Yeah, well, you are, to be precise here, 1732.
Unreal, dude. So Mark Maron, I think, is at 1,640. So you're going to beat him.
Well, I remember when I passed him.
Whoa!
I said, "Hey, there you go." So, but you know who hasn't visited yet? So he gets Obama will drop by.
Oh, he gets Marcus. Unreal. I love listening to him though.
He gets Obama. I get Graven, but I'm just as happy. I'm just as proud.
Thanks, man.
To have Graven.
I feel like you'd be one of those guys who would be like, you would talk the same way with Obama as you would with me. That's
you know what? 100%.
Genuine. Yeah.
I would, Mick Jagger or Graven get the same respect. By the way, graven.bandcamp.com. I want to make sure I get that out there because I'm going to play one more song. But graven.bandcamp.com is where people go to support you and to buy your music.
Yeah, man. And I'm going to leave you with, I'll go walk back to my car. It's parked over when I leave, but I have a vinyl I'll give. Do you have a record player?
No, but you know what? I got a lot of vinyl out here but I like it.
Well, I'll give you one and you can put it up, with these ones or something.
Because you never know. Because right now you see there's Dream Warriors.
I love Dream Warriors. Wash your face in my sink.
That's what that's the 12-inch for Wash Your Face in My Sink.
Are you serious? That's such a good song.
I love that song.
I can't even see that it says that on it.
Here, I'm going to bring it.
Wash your face in my sink. See, this is like the early Canadian hip. Oh my God.
Well, if we can talk early Canadian hip hop, the OG, who I absolutely adore, and who I'm just going to play a few seconds from her right this exact second.
Toronto, stay tuned right here with Toronto Mike, and it goes a little something like this. Hit it.
Do you know who that is?
That would be, is that like Mishi Me or something?
That's Mishi Me.
No way. That's just.
She's the OG. Then you got to throw right in there. You got to throw Maestro Fresh West right in there. This is all coming up with DJ Ron Nelson on CKLN, right? The Fantastic Voyage. And then you got to throw Rumble and Strong. Shout out to Rumble. I hope you're okay, buddy. And then, of course, then you get Dream Warriors, which was, by the way, recorded in DJ Ron Nelson's home studio.
No
so
way.
It all connects, man. And then you're not too far thereafter. You got your Organized Rhyme.
Yeah, Organized Rhyme. Wow.
Well, let's give some props to Organized Rhyme.
I mean, that's still, check the OR. Great song.
Check the OR. Film that video. And there's a cameo in that video from King Lou and Capital Q from Dream Warriors.
Have you ever had Tom on here?
I would love to get Tom on here.
Thank you.
I once had a Twitter, back when I was on Twitter, I had a Twitter DM exchange with Tom Green explaining what this is and why he would love it. And then it died on the vine. Yeah. And then he stopped replying to me. So
I don't know if I think he lives mostly out in the country.
I would let him zoom in.
Zoom in. Okay. That's cool.
I had Ashley McIsaac zoom in.
I saw that.
I had trouble getting him in the basement, and it was fucking bananas. Okay, you've got to listen to Ashley McIsaac on Toronto.
Yeah, I believe it.
Oh, one more quick. I meant to say this, and I'm going to play one more Graven song before we say goodbye. But when we were talking about Maestro, I mentioned on Toast that we played "Stick to Your Vision" because we were talking about
great
eye songs, believe it or not, and I kicked out "These Eyes" by the Guess Who.
These Eyes, that was such a great sample for that song. Perfect.
And there's a lyricist credit on Stick to Your Vision to a gentleman named Darren O'Brien. Does that name mean anything to you? Darren O'Brien.
Yeah, it should.
It should, because he's also known as Snow.
Oh, no way. Informer.
Absolutely. And Snow, believe it or not, is the official ambassador of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball.
That is so cool. Wow. You know what's funny? I feel like we're all being listened to by Meta and all that stuff. But just yesterday, I'm not even kidding you, Mike. Yesterday,
Yeah.
there was a clip on IG that someone sent me of Jim Carrey doing
Imposter.
Imposter by Snow.
So there, if you go to my YouTube channel,
was that a Living Color?
it was.
sketch?
Yes, it was
Okay.
absolutely. But there,
Totally.
I literally, because I had Snow down here a few months ago,
Right.
and I played him Imposter, and I had the camera on. I'm like, it's on you, and of course, I put on YouTube just Snow reacting to listening again. He heard it at the time, but
He'd never heard it.
No, he heard it
Oh,
at
he'd heard
the
it
time.
before. Okay.
But he heard it again, and he reacted. So when Jim Carrey makes well, he would say, "That's a punch." This is what Snow would say, "That's a punch. That's a punch." And you watch Snow reacting to Imposter. He quite likes Jim Carrey in Imposter, but
I love
that
Jim Carrey.
happened in this basement a few months ago.
Wow.
I got another gift for you.
Okay.
Measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home.
Are you serious?
Ridley
This is
Funeral Home
great.
has,
I always wanted a measuring tape from near dead people.
Well, they're pillars of this community.
Awesome.
And they have a great podcast called Life's Undertaking, and I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend recyclemyelectronics.ca because, Graven, if you have old electronics, old devices, old phones, who knows what you got going on in Ottawa there, don't
much.
throw it in the garbage because those chemicals end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code, and find out where you can drop it off to be properly recycled. You got it, Graven?
I got it. Thanks, man.
As a kid, always did think the stage would be where I may quit.
Yeah, that's a fun music magic with Jordan Murphy, this guy from out east. He's playing drums on that song.
Is everyone from out east named Murphy?
I think everybody is.
Chris Murphy, Matt Murphy,
Murphy.
Jordan Murphy.
And the Murphys are a well-known family that live on PEI, too. Yeah, they're everywhere out there.
And the Butlers, I was told by Rob Butler, who won the World Series with the Blue Jays in 1993 and now coaches the aforementioned Toronto Maple Leafs, that all the Butlers come from Newfoundland.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so what album is Music Magic on?
This is on Simple Complex as well, the one.
Okay, so I
you're
should have
playing
closed with the one, right? Because that's the new album.
Yeah, if you want to, but yeah.
Amateur hour over here. What am I
No,
doing?
but it's great. I love that you went all around because I it's nice to actually hear stuff in the background. It's like I was talking to Jill Barber about this, not to name drop.
No,
and
I like it when you name drop.
Matt Mays as well on my podcast, both asking them, when you guys work on albums, don't you get kind of ear deaf to your own stuff? Like, is there a point where you've listened to it too much and you just don't want to hear it anymore?
Right.
And they're both in different versions said yes, it's true. But, it's like you can come back to it later with a new appreciation and you're kind of like, oh, yeah, oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, sort of like that. And because there's just a point where you're getting ready to put it out where you've listened to the song so many gosh dang times that it's nice, to hear it now in a different setting.
I've never recorded any music, thankfully, but I can tell you sometimes you're in the room for an episode, and I just did this with a guy named JD Bunkus, where I'm in the room and there's a different energy than you're kind of used to, and then you're like, okay, I don't know how that sounds, so what I literally do is I know it's hard to do because you're always yourself, but I'm going to listen to it like it's not me. So I listened to JD Bunkus on Toronto Mike as if I wasn't Toronto Mike, which is almost impossible. But I just how does it sound if you're just a guy, maybe you're mowing the lawn or you're on a bike ride or a drive and you're listening to a podcast. So maybe you get so close to something, you're in the room, you need to sort of step back and look at it from a different perspective.
Oh, for sure, Mike. And I've talked to some younger artists recently who are, as I travel and play on the road, and people who want to put out their first record who haven't done, I've released something like 24 or 5 things like EPs and albums and singles and stuff now, but they'll say, what do you recommend I do? And I think there's a lot of with magic, there you go, there's a lot of pressure for people who want to that's from the music video. There's some cheering in the background. It was great.
It is from the music video.
So a lot of artists will say, what do you think I should do for my first record? And then blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to this female singer-songwriter from Prince Edward County, and she's talking about, wanting to record with this person and that person and whoever else. And I just think my advice is always just get something out there, because no matter what, You're going to look back on it. It's your first thing, and there'll always be things about it you don't love, but you'll grow from it. And then you'll do the next thing. You know, I think sometimes artists can be too precious about the work that they put out. It's like, just get it out there. And the people who love it are going to love it, and they're not going to listen to it as intently as you are anyway. So,
Right.
But yeah, just have fun. Record a record, record a single, record a few songs.
You've
and
inspired
somebody
me.
put
I'm going to
them out.
record something.
Please do.
Next week. I did write back in the day. I wrote some rhymes. Well, maybe I'll record my first hip hop album here.
Yes, do it.
Graven Town is the podcast. And how often do you drop new episodes?
Oh, man, I try to do one every Tuesday, but you know that just doesn't happen with my schedule. So I'd say it's about twice or maybe 3 times a month.
How'd you get Giselle? Giselle's Big Backyard. Your most recent guest is Giselle. I listened to it. I learned about Ron Hawkins singing the theme song. That was a mind blow.
Yeah.
But like, did you pursue Giselle because you had that period in your life where you found some comfort in that show?
I think...
Or did Giselle say, like, please talk to me? I'm curious, like, how did Giselle... It's just a name I haven't thought of in a long time.
I'm pretty sure I reached out to her just saying, hey, I've always been a fan. You know, I have this podcast that's just audio only, and I just record it over the phone. So I have a microphone underneath the phone, and I put it on speaker, and it comes out, you know. I know, right?
It's not bad considering...
it's pretty great.
So why not just record a Zoom or something?
I hate there's something about Zoom, the sound of it. I can hear like the digital pixelation.
You can hear the
something.
bits and the bytes in there.
It's weird. So with phone, you at least get it coming through like a speaker, and you can mic up that speaker nicely. I find anyway.
Well, you know, I liked what I heard with
Thank you.
with Giselle, and then you've had, again, we've talked a lot about him, but you've had Ron Hawkins on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some big names have been on Graven Town.
Matt Mays, and my 100th episode is coming up, so I'm nowhere near you, Mike, but
that's okay.
I'm getting there, and I have someone special planned for episode 100 that I'll tell you about off air.
Oh, you'll
But
tell me off air.
it's
Is it
pretty
Chuck
exciting.
D from Public Enemy?
No.
Is it Flavor Flav?
No.
All right, I can't wait to find out about episode 100. And when is that dropping?
Approximately? You know, probably maybe in 2-3 months, something like that.
Okay, very exciting.
Keep
By
in
the way, you
touch.
can't get to episode 1733 without going through 100. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at some point I celebrated episode 100, so...
that must have been fun. So at 100, were you like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this, or were you like loving it at that point?
Well, I only figured out what I was doing at about episode 60-something. Like, I feel like
That's
I
awesome.
feel like until Jonathan Torrens came over.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like that episode... Jono-Vision, and I wanted to talk about Street Sense, really.
Yeah.
You know? But we had a good chat, and it's funny because he wrote me an email because he Googled Toronto Podcast Studio, and he ended up on my site, and he wanted to like record Taggart and Torrens with Jeremy Taggart at my studio. It was like early days. It might have been. And then I said, well, I really don't do that. I do it now, believe it or not. But back then I didn't do it. I just said, hey, but why don't you come over for an episode of my podcast? And he took a cab over. He was in town at the CBC or something.
Oh.
And
So nice.
that's kind of like a big moment in this podcast. And that's episode, like, I think that's episode 60 or something. But that's like when I realized, oh, I think I know what Toronto Mike is. But it took a while to get there. You have to kind of do it to figure out what it is. Because now you know what Graven Town is, right?
You're right. Yeah, it's mostly music, mental health focused. And I sometimes I love, like, unlike you do a lot of guests, I think. Or do you do solo ones too? Or do you just
No,
mostly
I mean, I can't. It's possible there's a solo or two in the 1733, but I really don't do many solos.
what you call Mike-umentaries, right?
Yeah, once in a while I do.
See?
That's true, which is like
I'm a fan.
a package, and that's coming out on Monday. You're going to learn about something that happened on Smile from Change of Heart.
And this is about Ron and Dawn. Was there a Mike-umentary on Ron and Dawn?
No, that was just that was one guest, John Wing, who joined me, and then we kind of walked through the ongoing history of Ron versus Dawn.
So cool.
Because there's been new developments thanks to Gare Joyce. I think maybe this weekend there'll be more from Gare Joyce on this topic. And this all started with Don Cherry selling his cottage on Wolf Island.
Wow.
Because Don's he's a Kingston guy. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So there was a story there, and then it branched out to this whole exit strategy. Ron McLean and this near, I don't know how close to death he was, but this health problem, pneumonia, I believe.
Wow.
That 85-year-old Don Cherry. You're gonna hear it in the rest of that Ron versus Don. You're gonna hear it all there. Enjoy that. I enjoyed this. How was this for you, Graven?
Dude, it was so great. Thank you so much, Mike. You're an awesome guy to talk to, and we have so many connecting like timelines and topics. It was so fun.
Yeah, a lot of connections from Stephen Stanley to Chris Tate to Chris Brown to Ron Hawkins to Sky Wallace.
And if you get to episode 2000, I want to be your 2000th guest.
Oh, I can't commit to that.
I'm
We'll
just
see if you
kidding. I'm
deliver.
so
Well, we'll
kidding.
see if you deliver Joel Plaskett first.
Yeah,
and then,
maybe he can be. Yeah, no, I'll definitely talk to him for you. He's great.
He's
I'm
a
sure
nice
he would do
man.
it.
All those
Yeah.
Maritimers are nice, right?
So nice. Yeah.
Have you ever met an asshole from the Maritimes?
They don't exist. I don't think. Yeah.
What about Brad Marchand?
Yeah, he might be. He just seems like you want him on your team, though. Also.
Yeah, he's probably an asshole when he's going against your team. Like
Yeah.
if he was a Maple Leaf, we'd probably think he was a sweetheart.
Oh my God! If he was on the Leafs, oh man, I know.
It'll be interesting when the Panthers play their first game in Boston next year. When,
Yeah.
his return.
Oh my God. Well, I really hope everything works out with the Leafs. You know, as being an Ottawa guy, obviously I have an allegiance to the Sens, but I have no horse in the race with hockey. And I was always just hoping for Canadian teams to go on, so I wanted the Leafs to go on. But I was glad at least the Sens won a couple games. Like, thank God.
You know,
I
we've
didn't
had-
want it to be a sweep.
Let me see it. We had 5 series in this new iteration of the Sens. There's been 5 playoff series between the Leafs and Sens, and the Maple Leafs have won all 5.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Well, I know I'm right because I watched them all.
but you didn't watch the old ones where the Sens.
Well, I don't
got
know,
the best
like,
of
because
them.
they had a team back in, like, I don't know, the late 1800s or early 1900s or something, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
like I don't even know. Like, there were no Leafs. I guess we had the arenas,
Right.
and then the St. Patrick's, and then the Leafs. I got to go dig into the history books.
So
But
is that true that every time the Sens have played the Leafs in the postseason, the Leafs have won?
yeah, 5-0 for the Leafs. Yeah.
I thought there was an early Sens team that played the Leafs that went on to the Cup. No, that didn't happen.
Nope.
Okay, they didn't play
that
the
team
Leafs.
didn't go through the Leafs. No.
Oh, because the Leafs weren't in the playoffs then, right?
It depends. I can't remember that era, but yeah, the Sens had some great teams, of course,
They did.
with Daniel Alfredson and everything.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But they've never beat the Leafs in a playoff series in the
No.
modern era.
They haven't, but you know what? They've been closer to a cup more recently than the Leafs.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
No, don't apologize. And that brings us to the end of our 1,732nd show, 1732.
Wow.
Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. If you want to support the great Graven, go to graven.bandcamp.com and see him in concert. He's playing a bunch of gigs with Stephen Stanley, and he's actually sold out tonight, so don't try to get a ticket. But opening for the Lazarettes and FOTM Chris Tate tonight.
Yeah, and Graven.ca if you want to check
Oh.
my website, Graven.ca. also.
Graven.ca.
And the Bandcamp is great too because you can buy all the stuff there. So thank you so much. Thanks,
And-
Mike. This has been really great.
Well, thank you. And much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, Toronto's Waterfront BIA, Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Building Toronto Skyline, and Ridley Funeral Home. I'm not recording for a week, but there will be the Mike-umentary that's going to drop, I think, Monday. And then the next recording in a week's time is FOTM Hall of Famer Stu Stone back in the basement. Can't wait to catch up with Stu. See you all then.